What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another video. I'm BouseFeenux, and this is Watch It in Action, the series where I take a weapon, talk about it a little, show you a build, and give you my thoughts on it. Today, we're taking a look at the Okina. Let's jump in. The Okina is a dual psi weapon released with the Update 19 Spectres of the Rail add-on. It counts in game terms as a dual dagger type weapon, and inside of its unique appearance, it was released with a brand new stance mod that more accurately would reflect the fighting style of this type of weapon. I mean, I'm not proficient in martial arts or anything, but I'm pretty sure you'd use this weapon differently than you would a dagger, just saying. Anyways, DE seems to be sticking with the trend of releasing low mastery rank weapons that are fairly easy to obtain and devoid of any frills like crit chance, status, or even hybrids like crit status weapons. We can see this from recent releases like the Dark Split Sword and the Stradivar. Both are weapons with pretty basic stats that don't require much investment in the way of forma and aren't too tricky to mod efficiently. The Okina seems to fit right in with this trend. As such, this weapon can be obtained at the low level of Mastery Rank 5 from your clan's Tenno Lab research room. Now, if you're a veteran player with a full arsenal of awesome gear, the Okina doesn't have much to offer you. With only 40 total base damage split up across 3 physical damage types, mediocre status scaling, and only 5% critical chance, there isn't much to write home about here. On the plus side, it is really cool looking, so if you aren't much of a melee user, the Okina looks pretty neat hanging from your character's lower back. That being said, this weapon is still a decent choice for low-level Tenno looking to familiarize themselves with a dual dagger family and gain a little bit of mastery rank by leveling it along the way. By taking a bird's eye view look at the mod setup, we can see that my earlier statements ring true. There isn't too much exciting about this weapon, and honestly, there isn't a whole lot you need to do to get it battle ready. It already comes with a Y polarity, and that's probably the only forma I would have used on it if it didn't already have one. As it stands, though, I haven't needed to use any forma to fit a worthy build. By taking a look at the build in detail, we see that I'm using the new dual dagger stance mod Spinning Needle, which, as you can tell by the name and the screenshot on the mod itself, that it was pretty much without a doubt created with this weapon in mind. On the top row of the build, we're using Primed Pressure Point. No rocket science here, this just increases our base damage across the board. If you don't own this mod, just use the normal version of Pressure Point instead. Next up, Fury increases our attack speed, and with melee, it's generally a good idea to attack as quickly as you can. There are no stamina bars in Warframe anymore, and faster attack speed basically translates into more DPS. Fury also helps cancel out the downside of using Spoiled Strike, which gives us another damage boost across the board, much like Pressure Point, but at the cost of attacking slower. I hate using this mod, but I honestly couldn't think of anything better to put here with this weapon's stats being the way they are. Buzzkill is the last mod on the top row, and honestly, I don't like physical damage mods either because physical damage scales so poorly in this game. Again though, I couldn't think of anything better to put here. As a note, this weapon has fairly close puncture and slash damage, so you could easily swap this out for the 120% puncture mod instead of the slash. The bottom row of this build was reserved for elemental mods. I'm using two 90% elementals and two 60% dual stat mods here. Even though this weapon only has a 15% base status chance, I still hoped it would scale better with status mods than it does. We still get a decent 33% status chance with two 60% elementals though, and with this weapon's quick attack speed, these mods are still viable. For the last part of this video, I wanted to take a second to show you guys how this weapon would perform in the average top tier sortie environment. For that, we'll be using a mix of unarmored to heavily armored targets at level 100. At this level, enemies tend to be pretty beefy, and as you can see, we're having trouble getting through some of them. With a slash-based weapon, we're obviously going to have a much easier time fighting flesh-based targets, but armored targets are going to be much tougher to take down. Couple this with the lack of crit or higher status chance, and it's pretty evident that the Okina won't be seeing a lot of high-level usage. And that pretty much wraps it up for today, ladies and gentlemen. If I sound super nasally in this video, I apologize. I've been sick for the last 3 days and I'm working through it. If you still enjoyed this video or maybe learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button because it helps out a ton. Also, if you're new here, consider subscribing for more Warframe content. If I get enough subscribers, I might finally be able to buy this poor guy a sense of humor one day. Anyways, I'm BouseFeenux, this has been Watch It in Action. I'll see you guys at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.